Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks. And, we're here to cover the first part of the week of pro wrestling. That includes Monday Night Raw, NWA Power, sort of, AEW Dynamite, Impact Wrestling, and MLW Fusion. It was definitely a very busy week this week in pro wrestling, and I'm kind of here for it. It's, we're definitely coming down to the wire on two big shows. Sunday, we got Forbidden Door. Look out for the review for that for Monday. And we got Money in the Bank coming next Saturday, which should be a lot of fun. And, we're going to start off covering Monday Night Raw, where it looks to be we're opening up with Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Title Open Challenge. And while he's in the ring, spotlight on him, crowd serenading him with a song. From behind, Seth Rollins attacks, and he, takes him out of the match. So, no match to go down. Sadly. And apparently this was a Vince McMahon call, in which, from what I've heard, from Dave Meltzer and them, this was supposed to be Tommaso Ciampa answering this call and then inevitably losing. So I kind of like this angle now. And, of course, spoiler alert, Miz comes out, says, I was going to answer this challenge myself and win the title. Sure, Miz. Then he issues an open challenge of his own, which reveals, spoilers, sorry for that, Tommaso Ciampa making his WWE return after a long injury. Glad to see him back. So that leads to Miz versus Ciampa. And honestly, this was a pretty good match. Not super long, but pretty competitive. Considering the history between these two, they teamed together against Logan Paul and Damian Priest, not this past year, but the year prior at WrestleMania. So these two do have history together. But then, after a fairy tale ending, your winner, Tommaso Ciampa. Not, like I said, not a terrible opening segment. I kind of am okay with this over Ciampa versus Seth for the world title. So, I don't mind this. So then, next up, we get a short Judgment Day promo. Finn Balor pretty much says, I took out Seth Rollins, but only because I want him all to myself for Money in the Bank, where I become the next world champion. Damian Priest gets the Money in the Bank, and Dom Mysterio beats Cody Rhodes, which probably not going to happen, but we'll see about that. And they pretty much end it saying, Judgment Cody Rhodes will make sure you never fight again, which that's definitely a big threat from Judgment Day. Next up, we got a Kevin Owens Sami Zayn interview. Interviewer asks about the bloodline, and Kevin Owens starts to snap, pretty much saying, "No, we're done with the bloodline. We don't care. That's not our business anymore." Then Sami Zayn turns to him and says, "What's going on here, man? Why are you so angry?" Pretty much saying, I'm not angry. I'm just annoyed. So Sammy then puts out a bet to Kevin Owens to say, look, rest of the night, you don't blow up. I'll leave it at that. But if you do, we're going to get you some help. So, bet's on. Night-long storyline, which is honestly a lot of fun. I did miss this next match. I do apologize. Between Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. I was getting some ice cream. So, sorry about it. We then get a very strange Cody Rhodes interview because it's not backstage, it's not in the ring, it's on the ramp, which you don't see that in WWE, in wrestling in general, too often. Pretty much says Judgment Day might just take everything at Money in the Bank, but then there's Dom. And in the Judgment Day promo, they issue a challenge to Cody Rhodes for a 6-man tag team match later on in the night, in which Cody accepts. So he's got to find a couple of partners. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Next up, we got Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin versus Indus Benjamin and Alexander do jump Indus before the bell. Ultimately, it is for naught, and then after a sidewalk slam elbow, your winners, Indus, which, you know, at least they're beating some legitimate teams now, Indus. Hopefully we get to see them face, I don't know, Alpha Academy or someone. Actually, no, that would be the worst. We then get to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn walking backstage. They run into a stagehand who accidentally dumps water on Kevin Owens. Now, looks like Kevin's about to blow up at him. Then he calms down. He says, "Hey, no problem. It's just water. It'll wash right out." We then run into Riddle, and Riddle starts going on about stuff. Kevin Owens is like, "Dang, Riddle, stop it," and just walks off. So, technically not a blow up, I guess, but, you know, a fun little segment back there. We then get, of course, the Logan Paul promo. He's up on the ladder, right under the Money in the Bank briefcases, and pretty much declares himself Money in the Bank in the men's Money in the Bank match. And I'm sure he's going to add a little more star power into it. Just don't have him win. Please, WWE, I'm begging you. Don't have him win this. Then out comes the rest of the field. First, Ricochet pretty much says, "Yeah, at Royal Rumble, I helped you go viral, so we're ready to go." Nakamura, who is now feels a little bit more motivated. LA Knight, yeah, coming out to the biggest pop of the night. Definitely making fun of Logan Paul for his escapades. Santos Escobar comes out. Pretty much says, "Hey, Logan, welcome to the party." And declares himself winner, which, I don't know, I wouldn't mind Santos Escobar winning. Then last but not least, actually, Damian Priest is in this match, but he doesn't come out for this segment. But Butch comes out, beeline to Logan Paul, and just starts off the big brawl, which, you know, that was a lot of fun. And Money in the Bank gets a little much needed star power. No offense to the guys already in the Money in the Bank. I love all those guys. They needed a little more star power. Next up, we got Matt Riddle versus Ludwig Kaiser in one of the more interesting matches of the night. Gunther is out there, but he doesn't interfere as much, which is honestly a little nutty. A lot of decent back and forth, but then after the bro Derek, your winner, Matt Riddle. And honestly, I'm glad Matt Riddle has his own character, having him be, well, pretty much mini Randy Orton. Really didn't do anything for me. So, I'm glad he has his own character. Post-match, Imperium attack Matt Riddle and leave him laying in the ring. We then get to see Seth Rollins being helped backstage. We'll get an update on him in a little bit. We then once again get Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn backstage. Imperium roll up. Pretty much saying, you know, you see what we did to Matt Riddle out there? If you're not careful, the same could happen to you. Which, yeah, that's going to be interesting. We then get a little bit more of a video of Chad Gable training Maxine Dupri, training her to do a suplex, which is going to come into play in a little bit. That leads into Otis and Chad Gable, the Alpha Academy, taking on Eric and Ivar of the Viking Raiders. And while it starts out pretty basic, we then get Valhalla chasing around Maxine, who, gets her in a suplex, that was awesome. However, that distracts Chad Gable long enough that the Vikings hit their big kick for the victory. So, we have a little lesson about celebrating a little too early. So, we'll see what happens. We then get the Judgment Day backstage, pretty much saying, our opponents, they're not all on the same page. While we do have current issues with each other, we're here on our own business to take care of business. We then get a brief Natalya interview where she pretty much says, Night of Champions, Rhea Ripley rocks me to my core. Now I get a second chance at her and prove that I still belong. Nice little promo from Natty. But before the match could actually take place between Rhea Ripley and Natty, Rhea pretty much attacks Natalya right off, hits a riptide, and the match is pretty much called off. We then get a brief Raquel Rodriguez interview. Says she's honored to be in the ring with Trish Stratus in her match coming up. And I'm ready to cash in on Rhea when I qualify for Money in the Bank. Then Rhea Ripley, who comes to this area, pretty much says, you're not ready for me. I'm on a roll like no one else, and see what you can do out there. Then we get Cody Rhodes somewhere in the bowels of the building as Akira Tozawa, in which it's been way too long since we've seen Tozawa, rolls up and offers to be Cody Rhodes' tag team partner. Cody says, I'll keep it under consideration. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn roll up, pretty much says, we got your text, but apparently it's too late to be your partner because Tozawa asked. Cody says, that's not happening. You guys are my partners tonight. So we got Judgment Day versus Owens and Zayn and Cody Rhodes, which, that could be fun. Next up, we got the Money in the Bank Women's Qualifier as Raquel Rodriguez takes on Trish Stratus, which, that's interesting. I don't remember the last time Trish had a match on Raw. It's definitely been a while. And there was some, decent back and forth between these two, but Trish really doesn't have it anymore. I'm sorry, but this was a bit of a mess of a match. I don't know if it was just because of Trish, but the chemistry definitely wasn't there. Zoe Stark definitely starts to get involved, but down comes Becky Lynch, takes out Starks. Trish Stratus comes from behind her, and then Becky elbows Trish, which causes a DQ victory for Trish Stratus. So she's in Money in the Bank. We then get a very interesting interview as former NXT champion Braun Breaker gets an interview. If you don't know who Braun Breaker is, he's Rick Steiner's son, and he's been in NXT for a while, and he has issued an open challenge to Seth Rollins for NXT, which I'm sorry I will not be covering. He pretty much says, I know Seth better than anybody. He isn't going to make excuses not to show up for NXT. I've been waiting for this opportunity for a while, and I'm going to hurt Seth so bad that I'm going to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. We then get a Becky Lynch backstage interview pretty much saying, yeah, I screwed myself with this situation. I'm surrounded on all sides by enemies. Now I have two options: overcome this mountain and win Money in the Bank, or go down in a blaze of glory, which I enjoy that mindset. Gonna be interesting to see what happens in Money in the Bank. Next up, we got Shinsuke Nakamura versus Bronson Reed. Nice little back and forth match. About halfway through, Ricochet comes out. He joins commentary. And we kind of get the same result as last time, where Bronson Reed throws Nakamura into Ricochet, although Ricochet dodges. Then Ricochet eats a Kinshasa. Suplex by Reed to Nakamura into a tsunami, which is my new favorite move. So your winner, Bronson Reed. And I'm going to say this, might be a little controversial. I hoped Reed was going to be in Money in the Bank. I think he deserves it a little bit more than some of the other guys. No offense to the other guys. I do like the other guys, but Reed, being so new, maybe could have used a little bit more of a spotlight. We then get a Seth Rollins at the hospital interview. And he pretty much says, yeah, while they did take me to the hospital, this isn't going to stop me. I will be at NXT tomorrow, and I'm not backing down. And as for Finn Balor, I've been waiting for this guy to show up for 7 years. Welcome back. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting matchup between Finn Balor and Seth Rollins with their history. And our main event for Monday Night Raw, we got Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Cody Rhodes taking on the Judgment Day. And, woo, this was a fun match all around. All 6 of these guys have some great chemistry together. But after a whole lot of finishers, including a Helluva Kick, a Stunner, and a Crossroads to Dom, your winners, Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. Honestly, this was a nutty match. I loved every second of it, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens at Money in the Bank. Now, next up, we have NWA Power, kind of. This was an old taping from their tour of Australia, which is definitely an interesting venue, an outdoor venue, like on the outskirts of a castle, which that's pretty cool. We kick it off with Tag Team Action Playa as the 2/6 of the Southern Six. That's Thrillbilly Silas Mason and something Taylor. Taking on Caveman Ugg, which is a brilliant name, and Jake Taylor. And, you know, nice back and forth match. Caveman Ugg doing a lot of power stuff. Silas Mason hits a thrill ride about halfway through for a 2 count. Then after Uranagi, a thrill ride and a roll up, your winners, the Southern Six. A nice, while brief, yet still very entertaining match between these 4. Gonna see what the Southern Six are all about in the near future. Next up, we got former number 1 contender to the NWA Women's title, Natalia Markova, taking on Aisha, who is a Australian native. Yeah, this was another fun match. A lot of good back and forth. Natalia with the power, Aisha with more the speed. But then something interesting happened. Kenzie Page rolls into the ring, hits Markova with the title, with the NWA women's television title, to cause the DQ win for Aisha. So it does look like Markova is setting her sights on the women's TV title, which I'm okay with. I do wish there was more of a significant winner in this match, though. Next up, a battle of the weird gimmicks and names. You have Mercurio taking on Slex. And no, I'm not kidding, that's his name. This was a very hard-hitting bout. Mercurio really stepping up in this match. But, end of the day, after a Slexecution, which, yes, that is his finisher name, your winner, Slex. A very entertaining bout, and very hard not to laugh at that name. No offense to Slex. Mad respect. You really brought it. And our main event for Power. You have the junior heavyweight title on the line as Kerry Morton takes on Adam Brooks. Brooks I'm not super familiar with, but he brought it to Kerry Morton this time out. Kerry at some points looking to leave the ring only to get brought back in. He does hit a kiss it goodbye, but only for a 2 count. But ultimately, after a super kick, a showstopper, your winner, still junior heavyweight champion, Kerry Morton. So, yeah, very entertaining episode of Power, as you can say. This was a part of the, I forget the name of the tour, but it's a Smashing Pumpkins tour, as Billy Corgan currently owns the NWA. So, yeah, a little fun, kind of out there taping in a beautiful venue. So, I do hope to see a little bit more from this show, so we'll see what happens. Next up, we got AEW Dynamite. Another very fun show, and the go-home show to Forbidden Door. So, first matchup, we got Jeff and Matt Hardy taking on Austin and Colton Gunn. Yes, that's Billy Gunn's kids. And honestly, the Gunns really stepped it up for this match. They went blow for blow with the Hardy Boys. But ultimately, after a little ref interference and a little takedown from Bullet Club Gold, that's Jay White and Juice Robinson, after a 3-10 to Yuma, your winners, the Gunns. Post-match, Bullet Club Gold and the Gunns start beating down the Hardys, including a sick-looking Blade Runner from Jay White. This brings out Ricky Starks with a chair. He starts swinging, gets overwhelmed by the numbers game. FTR come out to make the save. Again, not enough, too many numbers. And this leads to the AEW Dynamite return of CM Punk. That's right, CM Punk makes his return to Dynamite after some time off. Looks to the GTS to Juice Robinson. That gets countered. And Bullet Club Gold and the Gunns roll out the ring. CM Punk gets on the mic. Hey, guys, I've been watching you guys fight this war for weeks. So how about this? Saturday, on Collision, it's going to be the 4 of us, that being Punk, FTR, and Ricky Starks, take on the 4 of you, the Gunns and Bullet Club Gold. Which, yeah, that should be a fun little match. Next up, we got a little vignette from Mark Briscoe and Jeff Jarrett and their history, leading to the concession stand brawl between Jeff Jarrett and Mark Briscoe. Now, before I go any further, apparently there was a video on AEW's YouTube, which apparently Jeff Jarrett said if he loses this match, he's leaving AEW, or he's not wrestling for AEW again. But I believe that video was taken down and was replaced by a new video that doesn't have that. So I don't think Jeff Jarrett is going anywhere anytime soon. So this match starts on the concourse. They throw pretty much everything they got at each other. Hot dog buns. They squeeze condiments on each other. It's crazy. At one point, you have Mark Briscoe getting ready to elbow drop Jeff Jarrett through a table. Then Karen Jarrett pushes him off the top of the ladder. They brawl through the concourse down to the ring, in which you have not only Karen Jarrett, but Sanjay Dutt and Jay Lethal coming in as well. It looks like they're all going to overwhelm Mark Briscoe. Jay Lethal looks to set up the timekeeper's table to put Mark Briscoe through. Who stands up from the timekeeper's area but Papa Briscoe, making his presence felt, choke slamming Jay Lethal through the table. He then gets in the ring, takes down Jeff Jarrett and Sanjay Dutt. Then down on the ramp comes Satnam Singh. He choke slams the heck out of Papa Briscoe, which that looked rough. Did the same thing to Mark. Then down comes the Best Friends to make the save. Numbers are again a little bit too much. Down come the Lucha Brothers to hit a bunch of super kicks on Satnam. Then after a J Driller, a roll up, so your winner, Mark Briscoe by the skin of his teeth. And this leads to a celebration between the babyfaces. Definitely a fun match, and it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Next up, we got a backstage interview with Don Callis, Konosuke Takeshita, and the Blackpool Combat Club, who pretty much say, yeah, we've defined wrestling for a while now, and with Bryan Danielson having a match already at Forbidden Door, Young Bucks, Hangman, we challenge you to a 5-on-5 match. It's going to be the Blackpool Combat Club, represented by Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta. Then also Konosuke Takeshita, and Jon Moxley's ward from New Japan, what's his name? Shuta Umino, will be in a match against them. So pick your partners well, and we'll see you at Forbidden Door. Then Danielson pipes up, pretty much saying, Okada, I know you're not here. You're nothing but an amateur. Later on tonight, I'm going to call you out and prove you're not the best and you're a coward. Which, dang. Shots fired from Bryan Danielson. Next up, we got a very interesting 6-man tag team match, playa. You got Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki taking on the team of Darius Martin, Action Andretti, and AR Fox. And honestly, this was a fun match. This match was so much fun, including spots where Minoru Suzuki had a sleeper on Andretti. Darius Martin super kicked him. He no-sold it. Just turned to Andretti and they start chopping each other to heck. Then a bit after that, for the win, Jericho hits the Lion Tamer for the victory. Then we get an interview for the winners. Jericho recaps the moment between Sting and Chris Jericho. Pretty much says, yeah, you, Sting, you show up for the highest bidder, and that stops now. Then Jericho issues a challenge to Sting and Darby Allin and a partner for a match, 6-man tag team match at Forbidden Door. Sting and Darby Allin come out. Sting pretty much says, yeah, we had a great moment last week, but I need more with you. And I accept your challenge for Forbidden Door. And then Darby pipes in, pretty much says, Jericho, you've made a lot of enemies in your career. We got our third man, which we'll reveal at Collision. So we're going to wait on that. That should be a fun one to reveal. And then Sting whispers it into Jericho's ear. We don't hear who it is. And Jericho has a very surprised reaction. So, gonna be interesting to see who Sting and Darby Allin's partner will be. We then get the first blind drawing for the tag team title shot, future tag team title shot, because they're having a pretty much a randomizer tournament where they'll have a couple of singles guys team up. Now they do draw names, but they don't announce it. They're saving it for this next segment. Oh, no. First we get a promo by The Elite. The Elite. Pretty much saying, yeah, the JAS, they've used numbers advantage for a while, but we've got friends all over the world. And here's one of them. Eddie Kingston just pulls one of these, just kind of floating into the shot. Pretty much says, look, I don't like you guys. We're not friends. But I hate Claudio Castagnoli even more, which is why I'm on your side. Now, as for our fifth man, the last pick belongs to me, and I'm going to reveal it later on. So, that's going to be a fun one to figure out. If you saw my predictions video, you know who it is already. We then get an Adam Cole promo, because it's story time with Adam Cole, baby. As he pretty much says, yeah, I hate to admit this, but I'm going to give the devil his due. MJF took me to my limit. I didn't beat him, but he didn't beat me. And MJF was smart to not accept the 5 more minutes because he probably would have lost. Which, shots fired. So, it's very clear that MJF is scared to defend his title against anyone else, but he hasn't beaten Adam Cole yet. This brings out MJF. Pretty much congratulations. Your NXT self is now here, and I brought that out of you last week. But the reason I didn't accept the 5 more minutes was to protect you and all your head injuries. You lost track of time. I had you beat. And then pretty much to the rematch challenge, MJF says no. Then at that moment, Tony Schiavone gets up. He has a microphone. He pretty much says, hey, excuse me, guys. I got an announcement to make. Both guys at the same time pretty much yell, shut up, Schiavone! Which was, that got me good. I'm not going to lie, that got me good. But then it is revealed the 2 partners for the tag team tournament that was drawn was Adam Cole and MJF. Now, personally, I'm not that big of a fan of the thrown together tag teams. But this, I'm okay with this. I'm good with this. Because it's 2 rivals. And who knows what they're going to do against each other. So, that's going to be fun. We then get a video packet promo from Hiroshi Tanahashi. Pretty much saying, MJF, yeah, I don't know what our status is for our match at Forbidden Door. You keep saying no. But either way, I'm coming to America. See you then. MJF pretty much says, hey, Tanahashi, buddy, I'm going to have to say no. But then Adam Cole steps in. He pretty much says, yeah, no one on the planet is better than you, but Tanahashi thinks he's better. And don't you want to prove that against him? And then MJF pretty much says, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. And Adam Cole wishes him luck with MJF with the most befuddled look on his face. So it is official. We are getting Tanahashi versus MJF for the AEW World title at Forbidden Door. That's going to be awesome. We then get the announcements for the brackets for the Owen Hart Cup. And our first participants, we've got Satoshi Kojima versus CM Punk in a first round match at Forbidden Door. And then I think it's Willow Nightingale. No, Willow has a match. Hold on. I forget who it is. I do apologize. I know there's a match on the pre-show. I forget what it is. Next up, we got a tag team match playa as Orange Cassidy teams with Katsuyori Shibata to take on Daniel Garcia and Zack Sabre Jr. And this was a technical marvel. This was my favorite match of the week, I think. A lot of good back and forth. A lot of Orange Cassidy selling his hand injury. It was pretty much wrestling perfection. Cassidy then hits an orange punch, misses his intended target, and hits Shibata, and Zack Sabre Jr. and Garcia pick up the victory. Then we see a bit of a kind of tug of war between all four participants over the international title, and it is then revealed that the four of them are going to compete in a fatal four-way at Forbidden Door for the title. That should be a lot of fun. We then see Will Ospreay coming in through the parking lot. He is then interrupted by Don Callis, pretty much saying, hey, I got some special security for you for Forbidden Door. I know Canada could be a crazy place, and I want to see you safe so we can have a fair one-on-one with you and Omega. Well, I highly doubt it. It looks like Will Ospreay is being recruited to Don Callis' new family, which it's going to be interesting to see. We got Willow Nightingale versus Toni Storm for the AEW Women's title, set for Forbidden Door. We then get our main event match of the night for the TBS title. We get Taya Valkyrie versus Chris Statlander. And match was okay. It wasn't the best it could have been, but it was definitely really competitive. Nice back and forth. A real breath of fresh air from Jade Cargill's dominant reign with the title. And then after a Wednesday night fever, your winner, Chris Statlander. We then get an Eddie Kingston promo, pretty much says, yeah, guys, I'm here to do one thing. I'm mad at Mox for teaming with Claudio. That's why I'm on the Elite side. And this brings out Jon Moxley. They go face to face. Pretty much says, yeah, you know how this goes. You've drawn the line at Forbidden Door when you teamed with Claudio. And our fifth man, Tomohiro Ishii, which that is a big old fifth man. I was kind of hoping it would be Kota Ibushi. Well, put a pin in that. Then the Blackpool Combat Club jump Eddie Kingston. Ishii tries to make the save. Then we get Danielson pretty much saying, yeah, if Okada ain't here, I'm going to stomp the boom Adi Ishii. Dun, dun, dun. Out comes Kazuchika Okada to make the save. Yuta then jumps Okada from behind, holds him. Danielson's about to hit the Busaiku knee. Okada rolls out of the way, hits Yuta. Danielson then bails out of the ring, and Yuta eats a big old Rainmaker to end the show. Man, this was a really hype show. I cannot wait to see what happens at Forbidden Door. I hope you guys are too. Alright, next up we got Impact Wrestling. Yeah, this is going to continue for a little bit longer. I'm not going to dwell on everything. To start off, we got a six-man tag team match playa. We got OVE, which is Sami Callihan, Jake Crist, and Madman Fulton taking on the Good Hands and Brian Myers. And yeah, this was a fun as heck match. Really good back and forth. Chemistry was all there. About halfway through, Crist was on the top rope, ready to hit a cutter. Moose then dumps him off the top rope. Myers hits a quick roster cut. So your winners, the Good Hands and Brian Myers. So definitely a good match. Interesting to see where Moose goes from here, because Moose as a teacher would be very interesting. We then get a Frankie Kazarian, Eddie Edwards thing backstage in the back. Eddie Edwards pretty much reveals, yeah, I'd never asked for this matchup. I know we're not best of buddies, but you can trust me for tonight. Then Kaz pretty much prigs up, oh, can I trust you? You've pretty much turned on everyone on the roster, including your boys in Honor No More. But for now, let's go out there and let's take care of business. We then have Sami Callihan backstage, cussing out a storm. He runs into Rich Swann. He pretty much says, yeah, I know what Moose is like. I've been dealing with him for a bit. And now he's teaming with Brian Myers. I got your back now. And so we got Sami Callihan and Rich Swann together again. I hope that doesn't mean it's the end of the rest of OVE, because it's been good seeing Jake Crist and Madman Fulton back. I hope they stick around for a little bit. We then get Dirty Dango versus Bhupinder Gujjar. This match felt a little... It felt like it just didn't get into second gear all that well. And, after a reverse DDT, your winner, Dirty Dango. Not really that much to talk about. Dango then hangs out in the ring a little bit. This brings out Santino Marella. Dango bails out of the ring as Santino gets in. Gujjar throws Fandango into the ring. And then Marella hits the Cobra. So, yep, that's that. You've got Jody Threat and Nevaeh backstage, kind of celebrating their match, which was on the pre-show. Sorry, I don't watch the pre-shows. And Nevaeh says, yeah, we'll catch up later. She then runs into the Death Dolls, starts hugging on Jessica. She pretty much says, oh, so the rumors are true. You guys have had personality changes after you've been in the undead realm. And then you've come back as this. So, I'm going to help you out. We're going to start from where it began, and we're going to go on a quest to get Rosemary and Havoc back. And then you have essentially Rosemary running off to, I'm going to say, the door to the undead realm. We then get backstage Zicky Dice being quizzed on his referee teachings at the ref school. And he passes the quiz. He then is given a ref shirt, pretty much says, "Oh no, I got one of my own." Takes it out of his fanny pack, and it's the usual zebra stripes, but it's like dyed pink, which is weird. Then Zicky, no, not Zicky, shoot, I forget Zicky Dice's partner's name. Shoos the ref away. Pretty much says, "Yeah, I now have a stooge in my pocket. That 50 wins is as good as mine." If you don't know that story, he needs to get 50 wins to get a title shot in Impact. So, we'll see how that goes. Next up, we got the Design being represented by Alan Angels and Khan, taking on Jonathan Gresham and Mike Bailey. And this was a heck of a good match. A lot of fun, a lot of nice back and forth. At one point, you have Alan Angels on the top rope, ready to finish off his opponent. Then Diener gets on the rope, pretty much yelling at him, like, "Go for it! Go for it!" Angels misses the move. Spin kick from Bailey. Ultima Weapon. So your winners, Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham. So it looks like the Design may be looking towards a breakup. Who knows? We then get a Trinity interview. She pretty much says, "Yeah, I'm focused on Slammiversary. Purrazzo is going to handle her business in Australia against Shaw. And I am not worried about a potential three-way for Slammiversary." She then pretty much says, "Yeah, Shaw, she always has her backup. She always has her boys. So Jay Vidal, next week, you and me." So it looks like we're going to get an intergender match at some point. We then get Jimmy Jacobs, who has a statement written by Nick Aldis. Starts reading it. Apparently it's revealed that Aldis was threatened by Impact fans after his actions last week against Shelley. Shelley then interrupts, pretty much says, "Yeah, this is BS. This isn't my issue. This is Aldis's. He should be here explaining himself." Jimmy Jacob reveals that, yeah, next week, Nick Aldis is going to reveal his intentions, and we're going to see, and you're going to have a front row seat. Alex Shelley starts to walk away. Jimmy Jacobs has a sly comment, and then eats a super kick. In which, that was definitely very interesting. We then get Taylor Wilde versus Killer Kelly in what was a very, very well thought out match. A lot of good back and forth. And then after the Killer Clutch, your winner, Killer Kelly. Post-match, Taylor Wilde and Kylan King jump Killer Kelly. Then this leads to Masha Slamovich, still with the dog collar, coming down to the ring. Looks like she's going to attack Killer Kelly. Then she and Kelly attack the tag team champions. So it does look like we have our Slammiversary tag Knockouts tag title match set. So, little enemy of my enemy is my friend. We then get a rare Scott D'Amore interview, which he's revealed, yeah, I have going to be taking a leave of absence as president. Takes off his headphones, throws them to the side, takes off his suit jacket, throws it off to the side, rolls up his sleeve, and pretty much saying, look, Bully Ray, Macklin, you guys are at the top of your game, and while I may not have had a top of my game, I've proven that I've been willing to play within the rules. Now I'm ready to break some rules, including against you guys when me and PCO get done with you at Slammiversary. That match is going to be nutty. I'm hyped for Slammiversary. Next up, we got a digital media title defense as Joe Hendry defends against Yuya Uemura. Match doesn't get started. You get Kenny King on commentary. And, another really solid matchup. Blow for blow, counter for counter. But your winner, after a standing ovation, Joe Hendry. You have Kenny King then take the title from the ringside area, gets in the ring, and pretty much kind of tosses the title to Joe Hendry. So, we're going to be seeing what happens there. And Fine Alamo, our main event for Impact, as we have Steve Maclin and Bully Ray taking on Frankie Kazarian and Eddie Edwards. Now, at first, Eddie and Kaz do have some good chemistry. They're working really well as a team, but ultimately, Maclin and Bully Ray take up the attack. And then after the ref was distracted by Alicia Edwards, Eddie goes for a super kick on Maclin that hits Kaz, and then an aided neck breaker from the two heels. So your winners, Bully Ray and Steve Maclin. So it does look like going forward, we're going to have Eddie Edwards and Frankie Kazarian feuding, perhaps. So we'll see where we go from there. And that's Impact. I really enjoyed this show. Definitely a interesting road to Slammiversary. And Fine Alamo for this part of the week. We got MLW Fusion, and it starts off with a triple threat tag team title match. You'll have the main event taking on the FBI and the defending champions, the Samoan SWAT team. And honestly, this was a nutty match. No tags. So it's tornado rules. And yeah, a lot of good back and forth. A lot of juicy finale doing power spots. Main event got some good stuff in. But ultimately, after a Samoan drop and a splash, your winners, the SST. We then get a brief promo from The Calling. They highlight Akira's middleweight title win. And pretty much, getting ready for the next challenge. We then get Mr. Saint Laurent backstage, coming up to someone working at MLW. Pretty much saying, don't send the money to Microman. Send it to me. He doesn't need it. I'm his booker. Send that money to me. We then see Taya Valkyrie from last week backstage. She's, taking her loss hard. Pretty much, then she catches the cameraman from the corner of her eye. Pretty much says, haven't I been embarrassed enough? This is not fair. I'm not a loser. I got beat by a nobody. Leave me alone. We then get a little highlight video of John Hennigan and Chris Adonis. Adonis getting ready for Hennigan's openweight title match later on in the evening. Then we get a Mance Warner promo. Pretty much says, you guys decided to jump me, to choke me out with that leather strap. So, I've been in MLW a long time. It's going to take a lot more to take me out, Adonis. So next week, I'm challenging you to a leather strap match. You started this fight, I'm going to end it. That's going to be a fun one. We then get the most one-sided fight I think I've ever seen. as Microman, who's tiny, taking on Beastman, who's like 600 pounds. And while not the most technical match of the evening, it was still fun. You got Beastman dominating a little bit early, but then Microman with a few tricks, a DDT, and barely covering Beastman's chest. Your winner, Microman. It is then revealed that the first participant for the Opera Cup tournament is Davey Boy Smith, and that Alex Kane is actually banned from the tournament for stealing the cup. It is then revealed at Never Say Never, Delmy Exo will be defending her women's title against Ava Everett, who is from the WXW promotion. So a little opening of the forbidden door here. Then we get an Alex Kane interview, pretty much saying, yeah, I renamed the Opera Cup. I redubbed it. This should be mine. Instead, I've been banned from the tournament, and that is a conspiracy by the league. Instead, and from everywhere, the league has taken from the Boom Fight Club, but now it is time to give back with the Big Apple Grapple next week, and he invites Alex Hammerstone to have a ringside seat. We then get revealed Sam Adonis on commentary for our main event, as the openweight title match features Jacob Fatu and John Hennigan. And starts out pretty usual. Hennigan then rolls out the ring. He hides behind Taya Valkyrie. Jacob Fatu, goes around her. He continues the attack. Gets him back in the ring. Hits a super kick. Tries for a moonsault but misses. Hennigan then hits a moonlight drive. Tries for Starship Pain. Miss. Adonis starts to get up from the commentary table. Taya Valkyrie gets on the ring apron. And this brings out Delmy Exo, who then takes out Taya Valkyrie. Then in the press box, Mance Warner takes out Adrian Adonis. Then we see backstage the Calling are taking out Lance Anoa'i. Then we get a splash, a super kick, a Samoan drop into the moonsault with your winner and new openweight champion, Jacob Fatu. So that looks to be it from Mr. Fatu, from Mr. Hennigan in MLW. Because it's looking like he's joining Taya in AEW. So, then Jacob Fatu gets on the microphone, pretty much says, "Hey, New York, it feels good to be home. It feels good to have a title again. You know what bloodline I'm from. Now let's get this party started." And that's it for this part of the week. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Definitely a fun series of shows for this start of the week. And I am excited to see what becomes for the rest of the week. Because we got SmackDown coming up. We got Rampage. We got Collision. We got Ring of Honor as well. And then, of course, the big one on Sunday, Forbidden Door. Should be an interesting couple of days. Stay tuned for those upcoming events. And until then, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.